Hello friends, and welcome to this crochet tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make this Boba tea keychain. Be great for the kids to hang on their backpacks and just to have. The keychain obviously is optional. You can tell how big it is. It's about the size of my hand, and we use worsted weight yarn. Now you can use other yarns if you so choose, but for this tutorial I'll be using worsted weight yarn. So let's get started. The materials and the tools that we're going to be using to make our Boba tea keychain: here we have beige yarn, we have white, a dark brown. For my straw, I'm going to use orange. The pink is for the cheeks. The black is for the mouth. The hook that I'll be using is a 4.5 millimeter. We'll use a tapestry needle, one stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. And before I forget and move on, here is the keychain holder that I'm using. It's plastic, and you can put it on your backpack or your zipper pull. How we'll hold it on is by using yarn just woven through quite a number of times and tying it off. And I'll show you how to do all that. Now, through my experience when working with worsted weight yarn, I prefer to double it. If you use a single, you want to use a really small hook, like almost a 3.25. That makes whatever you're making really small. I like to have mine where I can handle it properly. It's also personal preference. But for this video, I will be using 2 strands of the worsted weight yarn with my 4.5 millimeter hook. So to begin, we're going to start off with a tail, probably about 4 or 5 inches. We're going to wrap it around. I'm going to start off with a magic circle. Now I've learned that when you tighten this loop onto your circle, if you make that a little tighter, it'll hold in your stitches a little bit better. Now this is only for the worsted weight. If you use it for other yarns, then you might want it a little looser. So I tighten mine up just a little bit. Okay, so into the magic circle, we're going to place 6 single crochets. Okay, after we have our 6 single crochets, take your finger and thumb and pinch down, not too tight, just hold it in place, and then take your tail and pull. Now when you pull it, just pull it so it's snug enough to close, because the first single crochet that we did, we want to place 2 in there, and then we will continue with the tightening of our circle. So this is how much I have closed on my circle right now. So in that first stitch right here, let's place 2 single crochets. Okay, before we move on, let's take our stitch marker and mark the first of those 2. Continuing around, we're going to place 2 single crochets in every stitch. So when we get to the last one, we should have a total of 12 single crochets. I'm going to encourage you to continue on. So please pause your video and I'll meet you there. So after completing those 12 single crochets, let's go ahead and pinch where our center of our circle is and take the tail and pull. Okay, you see how it closed that circle up, and it is kind of snug, so it's not going to go nowhere. Do not cut this yarn. Move it on to our next row. Take out your stitch marker, and in that next stitch, 1 single crochet. And replace your stitch marker. I won't remind you, but you will see me remove the stitch marker and replace it throughout the video. Our next stitch will get 2. This will be our increase. So for this row, what we're going to do is repeat what we just done. 1 in one stitch, 2 in the next. 1, 2, 1, 2. Continue with this all the way around till you get to the end. This last stitch right here should be getting 2 stitches. When you're done, count them. You should have 18 single crochet. So for our next row, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going at a different angle. You see how we have like so it's like a 90-degree angle. And in order to make that so it's more of a 90, not a rolled 90, we're going to be doing back post single crochets. But what this also is going to give us is a nice little chain look showing the bottom of our stitching here. So let me show you how I do this. I don't know if anybody else does it, but that's part of my mechanical mind thinking. Okay, so what we're going to do is enlarge the loop, pull your hook out, and then pull your stitch marker out. Take your hook, doesn't matter where your yarn is, but let's get it out of the way. Take your hook and come in from behind to where the next stitch is going to be at. Okay, then I'm going to turn it to the side so you can see it a little bit. Take the loop and go back over the hook and then tighten it up. Not too tight, just enough so that it's the size of the hook. Okay, then we're going to pull it through to the back and then chain 1. The chain does not count as a stitch. When you have, we're going to be using the same stitch here. So when you pull it to the back, you want it to see how you can continue the look of the chain look. Okay. So what we're going to do now is going to insert the hook from behind and go across the front of the stitch and come out on the other side of the opening of that. Okay, and then pull the hook and bring it through with the yarn, and we're going to complete that back post single crochet. So continue this all the way around till we have 18 of them. But before we move on, let's place in our stitch marker. We want it on the loop of that back post single crochet. You see that one down there with the chain? We don't want that one. We want this one up here. So we're going to go in behind the next one, over to the front, to the back, through and through, and here's number 2. Okay, we're going to keep on going. At the end of the row, double check your count, or if you're counting as you go along, make sure that you get 18 single crochets, back post single crochets around. Okay, continue on. Please pause your video and I'll meet you at the end of the row. I'm almost at the end of the row. I have 17 single crochets. You'll see here how we have our loop that we brought to the back, but also this is still a stitch right here. So we want to go behind it. Okay, so we'll do the back loop on that one. And this will be number 18 for me. And then we'll be ready to start on our next row. The next 2 rows will be of color change. So let's move on. Okay, so we're going to place it into our first single crochet. Here's number 1. Number 2. And on our 3rd one, we're not going to complete it. Okay, so bring up the loop. Bring it forward. And here I have my dark brown. I'm going to have a short tail of about 2 to 3 inches. I'm going to fold it over my hook and complete that single crochet. Tighten up the beige and bring it to the side, and bring the 2 small tails to the side also. Now when we make the bubbles of the Boba tea, we're actually going to do a 3 double crochet cluster. Mouthful, isn't it? But what we'll do is yarn over, and in the next stitch we'll go through. I'm going to pick up the yarn, the beige yarn, and the brown yarn so that I can secure it, and pull up a loop, yarn over through the first 2. Okay, place your finger on it again, yarn over, and in that same hole, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, and stop. You have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to do it one more time. Through 2 and stop. You should have 4 loops on your hook. We're going to tighten this one up because it stretched out a little on us. So we use our tail, tighten that up just a little. Oh, drop your brown into the back, pick up your beige, and then pull it through. It may seem like a lot because I'm going slow, but this is all part of a learning process. Trust me, once you get used to color change, it's not that bad. And for this video, we're going to do a total of 8 of these. So when we're done, you'll master it. Okay, in the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. So fold all this forward, snug it up just a little bit with your tension, and complete a single crochet. Now from behind, push the double crochet cluster through, and it'll show like it does. Okay, to pop out just a little bit. So we have 1 single crochet. We're going to do 2 more. So here's 1, and then we're going to wait, stop. Before we move on, as we go around, we want to bring our brown with us so that we don't have open spacing in the back. So take that brown and bring it behind, and then do your single crochet. So you're going to actually be crocheting over that brown. Make sure my fingers didn't get in the way. Okay, so there's 2 single crochet. Now let's start our 3rd one. Okay, and then bring the beige forward, and then take the dark brown and pull it through. and then snug up the beige a little, and then yarn over into the next stitch, and we're going over the beige only this time. Pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, okay, yarn over again into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through the hole again, pull up the loop, yarn over through 2 loops on that hook. So we have 4 now. Okay, drop the brown, pick up the beige, and through all 4 loops on the hook. Okay, don't forget to bring your brown with you. Single crochet, 1, single crochet 2, and half. So we're just pulling up a loop. Pull it through. And we can come back and push this cluster out. All right. You're getting a little bit of the hang of it. Let me show you one more time. Okay, so the beige, we're going to crochet over that when we do our next stitch. So yarn over into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through the next stitch, okay, we have 4 loops on the hook. I'm going to set that brown down, picked up the beige through all 4 loops, and then single crochet, 1, 2, and on our 3rd one, okay, we're going to do our color change. All right. You think I can let you go on your own and try this last one all by yourself? I think you can do it. Go ahead and do your 3 double crochet cluster and then 2 single crochets in beige, and then stop right there. Please pause your video. Now, with a raise of hands, how many of you went back to double check on how to do that again? That's okay. That's what this video is for. It's to help you out. All right, so let's remove our stitch marker. Okay, and we're going to back up a little bit. This right here, let's go ahead and we're going to make that a color change. Okay, so let's go on. I'm going to speed up just a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit. So our first of this row will be the 3 double crochet cluster. Okay, oops, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and on this fourth one we're going to change our color. A little bit different than the last row. Okay, now before we move on, let's go place our stitch marker in. I'll go right over the top of that cluster here. Okay, so that's the first of the row. So our cluster is going to go right in the center of these 3 right here. Okay, here's 1, 2, and on the third one we'll do a color change. Whoops. And I ran out of brown. Let me go get some more. So go ahead and do your DC3 cluster, and look at that. I had one more to make too, and I'll meet you after we make that. Well, at least I had enough to finish this. And of course it wants to be difficult now. This is my blooper. Sometimes things like this happen. Okay, so you see the little bit I have. Now, here's a good example in case you wanted to make these multicolored. You can do that. It doesn't have to be all one color where you carry it around. So I have to add another for one more here. So after we've completed that one, we're going to do our 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the beige comes to the front. Here I have my new yarn. I'm going to pull it through. And it's just like if we were starting with the first of the row, or the first Boba T spot that we were putting in. You just want to go over the tail, and that'll help hold it down. And do your 3 double crochet cluster. Okay, and then set that and bring up the beige. Okay, now to help secure it even more, we can go ahead and go over it. Make sure it's all behind you. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and that completes the row with the Boba Tea stuff. Now I am going to cut some of these extra ones here so that they're not too long. All right, and this is what we have. Okay, so we're ready to start our next row. So for this row, you'll notice that when you do amigurumi, you see how it puckers out just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the magic tail in the first 4 stitches of this row, and we're going to have it behind so that we carry that tail. So let's move our stitch marker here, and this row will be all single crochet. So let's move all these other ones out of the way and just use the magic circle tail, and I'll show you the reason why in just a second here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, three, and 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the magic circle tail, I'm going to pull on it, watch the bottom. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera. Yeah, it will. See how it pulled it up just a little? Not too much, but just enough to pull out that little bubble pop out of it. Okay, now if you want, you can go over it a couple more stitches and then just stick the tail back into the bottom of the amigurumi in the center here, just like this. Just stick it in there. Okay, so continue on with this row. It's all single crochet. When you get to your stitch marker, make sure that you have 18 single crochets. For this row, we're going to increase on our first stitch. So that's 2 single crochets in the first spot. And then 8 single crochets. When you get done with the 8, we will repeat that. Increase 8 single crochets. Do that all the way around on this row. You will repeat it twice. 1 and 2. For this row, we're going to do 1 single crochet per stitch. That means we will have 20 single crochets in this row. So for this row, we're going to do an increase, but we're going to alternate. You remember on our previous row, we increased here. Well, this time we're going to increase on this side and this side over here. So we're going to start off with 9 single crochets and then do an increase. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and our next stitch is the increase. Repeat this again for the second half of the row, and I'll meet you at our stitch marker. Please pause your video. Our next row, we will do just straight single crochet, and we will do a total of 22 single crochet. So 22 single crochet, and I'll meet you there. So we're going to increase another row, and in this row we're going to have 10 single crochets and then an increase, and you will repeat that 2 times. So 10 single crochet and increase. Continue around and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Our next row will be our last row for the beige. So what we're going to do is 1 single crochet per stitch, which will give us a total of 24 single crochets in this row. So continue around and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So at the end of the row, remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the next stitch. That'll bring it all down to the same level. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it with a short tail and finish it off. And this is what we have so far. Let's go ahead and put in our eyes and our cheeks and our mouth, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I know in the materials list I forgot to tell you about the eyes. These are 12mm safety eyes. I got them on Amazon in a package of 6, 8, 10, 12mm eyes. If you go to the store, that's the size they are. They're just solid black. Okay, so here's the back of our amigurumi keychain here. So fold it so that it looks like this sits in the center. It doesn't have to be exact. And then let's flip it over. This is going to be our front. So let's count down 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. And then like above this guy right here, this little Boba thing, go ahead and stick this in. Make sure it's not snagging on anything in the back. Sometimes these safety eyes do that. There we go. And then we're going to count over 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to place my next eye right here. Okay, let's turn it to the back side. And with the cup side, with the cup side down, let's go ahead and put that on there. Now these are not recommended for small children. Safety eyes can come out even though they are a pain to put on, because if a child chews on the eye, it can come out. So these are not recommended for small children or people who chew on things. Or animals. We don't want any animals choking on this stuff. So let's place the other safety eye on. And push it all the way down. There we go. Yeah, that's even better. I got it to the second ring down there. That's even better. All right, so we got our 2 eyes in. Let's get out our pink yarn and our black yarn and our needle. Now I usually like to put the mouth on first. Now I have probably 12 inches of yarn here for black, and I'm going to come over just below the eye here, and I'm going to leave a tail so I can tie a knot, and then I'm going to come over to the other side. But what I'm going to do is in between, I'm going to determine how far down or where I want the center of my mouth. Oops, I hit my camera, sorry. And that'll give us a nice little smile. Each one of these little Boba things that I've made have their own personality. You can make it with a smile, you can make it with a frown, you can make it with a straight mouth. Choice is yours. We want happy little Boba tees, so you do whatever face expression you would like to have. Even if you have an, oh no, look. All right. And let's cut off our excess here. So here's our mouth. And I double the pink because even though I put it on there, I still wrap it twice. I like the pink to show out, as in blushing cheeks. Okay, so we're going to come over here, leave a little tail. So here's one, and here's two. So we're going to come across to the other side. Have it go in and out at about the same location. Like this one here is off the side of the eye. So you want this one to be off the side of the eye just a little bit. Even if you have to go in between stitches, that's what you have to do. Okay, so here I wrapped it twice. Got a nice little cheek there. And we're going to come over here. Here's one. And inside. Is that cute? Okay, so let's turn it inside out again. And then we're going to find our ends and put a square knot on it. And you want it to be kind of loose, so that way when we stuff it, it won't be tightened because of tightening it too tight or something. All right. There we go. So we are ready to move on to the next step, where we will start with our white yarn. Okay. So we are going to be using the back loops only on this. Now leave a little bit longer tail this time. And what we're going to be doing is a slip stitch across. So go through that back loop, pull up a loop, and then go right through the loop on your hook. What it does is it gives that chain look. So with part of that chain look, it'll help when we do our next row, which you will probably cuss at me and say I hate you, but I'm okay. Some of the things we have to do to make things look cute. All right, so continue this all the way around. When you get around, make sure you count and have 24 of these slip stitch in the back loop. I'll meet you there. All right, so how did you do? Does it look like you have a chain stitch around? Okay, now this row you're gonna hate me, but I'm okay. So we're going to use those back loops again, and we're going to place a single crochet in it. Don't cuss me out just yet, it ain't that bad. Okay, so pick up the back loop and single crochet. That's your first one. So let's place our stitch marker in. You did count, right? You made sure you had 24 right here. Okay. Let's go to the next back loop, the brown one. That's what we're picking up. Okay. Now I know I got fingernails. For those that don't have fingernails, just weave that hook underneath, just the brown. Okay, 24. Pause your video. Don't cuss me out too bad. You should have 24 single crochets here done in that back post. So we are going to start decreasing this row. So into our next stitch, 1 single crochet, the next stitch, another single crochet. So we have 2 single crochets. And in our next stitch, we're going to decrease, and we're going to do what is called the invisible decrease. So of the front loop of the next stitch and the second stitch, both of those front loops, we're going to pull up a loop using both of those and finish off the single crochet. It just pulls them closer together with the look of 1 single crochet. The next stitch, we're going to be doing the same repeat. Single, single, and decrease. So repeat this all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of the row. So for our next row, we're going to wait just a minute. We're going to add some stuffing. So let's place some stuffing up in there. Stuff it all the way down to the bottom. And then add some more. So go ahead and stuff yours. Once you get it to the top, I'll meet you there. Looking cute, huh? Okay, let's continue on. Now, there's going to probably be times where you're going to have to shove that what extra stuffing is down there. So this row, we're going to do 1 single crochet and the decrease. So go ahead and do that. And I will meet you at the end of the row. We are almost done with our little boba tee. It's so cute, isn't it? The last row of crochet for this portion of the boba tee will be decrease all the way around. We're going to do 6 decreases. But before you do that, you want to put some more stuffing up in here. Not too tight, but just enough to fill it in. And then just decrease. Make sure you count as you're doing your decreases so you make sure that you get the right amount in. So count 6 of them and I'll meet you there. Do not cut your thread and do not finish off. So I've completed my 6 double crochets, decreases. And so what I want to do is get about 18 inches of yarn and then cut it. We're going to bring it through all the way. And with our needle, where did I put mine? All right, hang on, I gotta find it. Okay, I have found my needle. It was hiding under my notebook. You notice how things like that always happen when you're on camera. Okay, so what we're going to do with our needle and thread here, we're going to go under the forward part of the next stitch, just the front loop. And we're going to do that to, let's see, I think 3 of them. Or 4 in this case. What this does is when we pull it, it's going to close that hole up. I'm trying to get it so that it's here on the side. Okay. So I'm going to bring it down and then up. right there. So it's at the halfway mark. So it'd be like right here on the side. And then we're going to take our keychain. Now I like to make sure that the opening faces the back. So I'll face it this way and run my needle through. And then coming straight across, I'm going to pick up some stitches here. You know, I had something to drink earlier. I'm not sick. I don't have anything brewing, but all of a sudden I get on here and start talking, and now I can't stop coughing. Oh, another day in my life. Okay, so you see what we're doing here? We're just going across. So we're going to go through this thing about 4 times. Here I got 2 so far. We want to make the yarn all the same loop, the same height in size. So here's number 3. We're going to go through it one more time. There we go. And then insert it and then head to the back. Pick up somewhere on the white. And what we're going to do is we're going to weave to finish this off. So make sure all that's the same height. So we're going to go in between the middle of these stitches. Let's find a row that we can do that on. Here, here's a good spot. So go into the middle of those stitches. And then go over one. Now if you went back through that same hole, it would come out. So we're going to go through here. And you notice we're doing this on the back side. We don't want to see all that on the front. Okay, so go through a loop on the other side, or the other stitch, and go back through that same opening there. And snug that up. Okay, let's do our straw, and we will attach our straw next. I chose orange for my straw so I can make them colorful, because the other one is blue and the other one's green. So we're going to leave a little tail here so we can use this as part of attaching it to the top of the Boba tee. So we're going to start off with a magic circle. Now in making of this, you're probably going to cuss me out, and that's okay. This is part of the beauty in making things. Sometimes we have some hard times to go through. So let's place in 3 single crochets. Now if you want to feel a little bit at ease, you can do 4, but just know that it will make your straw a little bit bigger. So here's 3, but I'm going to show you what I did to make it easier. So, okay, so we're going to go through the back loop. Notice how we're going from the center outward, and we're going to do our single crochet. And then on to that next one. Here's our next one. From the back to the front. Well, I guess it ain't that bad. You ain't gonna cuss me out that hard, are you? Okay, so we got 2. Here's number 3. Okay, we're still going around. Here's our next one, number 4. Now that magic circle tail is kind of getting in our way, so let's pull it out of the way. Okay, here's number 5. We're doing a total of 6 single crochets in that back loop. Number 5, and we're going to do one more. Okay, we all can breathe a sigh of relief. Well, I'm just going to go through both of them. Okay, and let's pull our loop through. That gave us a straw with a little spiral to it. Kind of festive. And it's going to go right here. So we're going to use both of these to help secure it down. Some people only use one. I'm a safety girl. Going to use 2. Don't want our straw to fall off. So right here at the same side, we're going to insert it and then bring it to the back. Whoops, I went up too high, didn't I? And then pull it through. That'll be our tie-off point. And then with the rest, we want probably a 12-inch or 6-inch tail here. We're going to go and make 4 points. So we're going to go straight across. So we're going to come down. We're going to come up here. Go straight down and then come across. I'm going to do in this back area too again. Okay, and let's snug it all up. Then we're going to go down in there. And we're going to come out the same hole that the first one came out. Okay, let's snug it all up. And we're going to tie a square knot. Right over left, left over right. Okay. Now, with our crochet hook, come down here and kind of go along the inside, not with the stuffing, just along the edge there, and come out the same hole that the square knots are coming out of. Fold your yarn over and pull it all in. Twist your hook around so it'll come off the hook. Try not to bring out any stuffing like I just did. And then you can turn around and say, wow, I made a boba tea. Thanks for being with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a lengthy one, but I had fun making it with you. So, till next time, bye-bye.